Hello, my name is Becky Evans. The topic I chose to research is world hunger. I have run marathons recently for Team World Vision to help raise money for clean water in parts of the world that also experience hunger. I'm a mother to 4 children and can appreciate how this worldly issue impacts mothers who try to provide for their children. Hunger is an issue that comes up many times throughout biblical history. In many cases, it is a spiritual hunger that is discussed. But my topic is about physical hunger. Physical hunger also occurs throughout the stories in the Bible. When Joseph enters Egypt, he leads the nation to prepare for a time when famine and hunger will strike the land. Many years later, when the slave Hebrew nation leaves Egypt, they immediately fear the prospect of hunger as they begin their journey into the desert towards the promised land. In both cases, God ultimately provides for the multitudes. There were very likely still those who suffered and perished from hunger and starvation, but God did provide for the vast majority of the people who would have otherwise gone hungry. Should we question why God allows people to suffer from hunger? Is this any different than people who suffer and die from cancer today? It may seem different because of what we know today. The fight against cancer is improving, but mankind's ability to produce and distribute food should eliminate world hunger. World hunger should be extinct, like smallpox and other diseases that plagued mankind centuries ago. Unfortunately, there still exist logistical issues that prevent hunger from being eradicated. For example, cost. What country or countries will bear the expense for those that cannot afford to feed their people? Storage. Food pantries are needed in many hard-to-reach locations across the globe. Security. The delivery, storage, and distribution of supplies must be protected from those seeking to gain power and authority over those who are impoverished. Infrastructure. What companies will step up to meet the supply and demand for conquering world hunger? In this slide, we see just a few statistics about world hunger today. 1 in 8 people worldwide do not get enough food. The number of hungry people in the world exceeds the population of the US, Canada, and the European Union combined. 34 million children suffer from severe acute malnutrition, a deadly condition if not treated. Around 1 million children each year die from hunger-related causes. This means malnutrition causes 15% of child deaths. 1 in 4 children in developing nations is stunted. Other statistics include world hunger is a leading cause for malnutrition in children under 5 years old. 1 in 6 children in developing nations is underweight. Hunger kills more people each year than AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis combined. More than 60% of the world's hungry are women and girls. The first 1,000 days of a child's life from pregnancy through age 2 is a critical window for good nutrition. The map you see represents where hunger occurs most in the world. Africa, Central and South America, along with many parts of Asia, struggle with hunger. Africa is where hunger occurs the worst, as indicated by the darker red sections. The United States is fortunate to not suffer from hunger like so many other nations throughout the globe. It's difficult to realize how widespread this problem is when you don't experience it firsthand. It's also daunting to see how much of the world is still affected by hunger. Matthew 25, verse 35. For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. Matthew 25, verse 37 through 40. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will answer them, Truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these brothers, you did to me. 1 John 3, verse 17 through 18. But if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth. And lastly, Deuteronomy 8, verse 1 through 20. The whole commandment that I commanded you today, you shall be careful to do, that you may live and multiply and go in and possess the lands that the Lord swore to give to your fathers. And you shall remember the whole way that the Lord your God has led you these 40 years in the wilderness, that he might humble you, testing you to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. And he humbled you and let you hunger and feed with your manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Your clothing did not wear out on you, and your foot did not swell these 40 years. Know then in your heart that, as a man disciplines his son, the Lord your God disciplines you. The Bible describes how fields and lands should be tilled so that surplus and excess would be set aside for those who were hungry and poor. Perhaps this still happens in underdeveloped nations, but is difficult to imagine in the United States. Efficiency is optimized and waste is mitigated in agriculture today. Anyone caught taking food could be tried for stealing. Most opportunities for those who live in the U.S. to experience hunger is when they see someone who is homeless. They are so broken and devoid of expression or emotion. It is almost unfathomable to imagine yourself in their position. You feel gripped. You try not to make eye contact. Perhaps you decide you should help, but you run into so many, you cannot possibly help them all. What should you do? What does the Bible say we should do? World hunger is not going away anytime soon, but there is a time to make an impact. There are opportunities to help those you see domestically, as well as those you will never meet in various nations across the globe. Organizations like Rise Against Hunger will partner with local churches to create foodstuffs that are delivered to areas where help for hunger is needed most. Pray about how God is leading you to help those who suffer from hunger. My references for this presentation are listed on this slide. To watch a video of this presentation narrated by Becky Evans, please visit the YouTube video linked on the last slide. Thanks for watching.